vast selection of landscaping and construction materials. They sell in bulk to save you money, and you can buy anything from a 5-gallon bucket to a semi-load. And don't forget, they deliver anywhere. Stop by 6701 Cornhusker Highway from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday to Friday and 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Saturdays. Go to GELandscapeSupply.com for more info or call 402-467-1627.
Spring is here and it's time to get those seeds in the ground. There's no time for delays. Equipment needs a part. That's why Acres stocks thousands of premium John Deere parts for all your ag machines, planters, sprayers, and tractors. Acres has what you need now. Now, the team of John Deere certified technicians, Acres will diagnose and repair your equipment quickly. Visit acres.com to find your closest location. Our team of parts and service professionals are dedicated to keeping you operating at full capacity. Acres, solutions for every field.
This is On the Block with Strick and Austin. Nebraska Basketball Hall of Famer and 9-year NBA vet, Eric Strickland.
Strickland for three! And you're going to go out of here as the Big 8 tournament champion.
Middle school basketball coaching legend and Duke basketball shooting coach in his mind, Austin Orman. Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. On air and online at theticketfm.com. Brought to you by Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. This is On the Block with Strick and Austin.
Well, it is On the Block. It is not with Strick and Austin, though. It's with Bach and Austin. Bach, how's it going?
That's right. I don't have quite the experience that Strick has on the court, but you know what? I've still played a few games of basketball, and I know a thing or two about sports, so it's going pretty well.
What position were you? What'd you play?
I couldn't handle the ball too well, so I would just say probably a shooting guard, small forward type. And this was before, shooting took over. Otherwise, I think I would have been played more, I think.
Well, hey, shooting is that's the point of the game, right? If you're not getting your shots up, you can't win if you don't score.
Yes,
I respect
that's right. Threes are worth more than two, and it took us a long time to figure that out.
It's funny how simple math can be so complicated sometimes.
That's right.
Now, don't get me started on have we gone too far with threes. That is a conversation for a different day.
Okay.
Strick and I have had that one. Doesn't always go well. I think differently. But you know what? That's okay. No Strick today. He'll be back later in the week, giving him the day off here with state baseball. Plenty to get to here during On the Block for the next hour. Shout out Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. Charles and his crew down at 27th and Pine Lake. And not open today, not open tomorrow. But go check them out on Wednesday. Again, best soul food you can get in Lincoln. They'll fix you a plate. You will be very happy. Not very happy today, Bach. Husker fans.
Yeah.
Dylan Raiola commits to Georgia. Not overly surprising. I think it was just a matter of time. There were rumblings that he was a silent commit. But starting with that, I feel like we have to have that conversation just because it is the big news of the day. Not as much about Dylan Raiola. When you look at the quarterback position in the future, does this just put that much more importance on Jeff Sims being the guy for the next 2 years?
Absolutely, because I think Purdy and Heinrich Harburg are both probably at points of calling them developmental quarterbacks. So you've got one that you can play, and again, like you said, Raiola would be in that category too, just coming in as a freshman. But it's crazy how fast that room went from you got a lot of guys, a lot of options, and maybe that's the reason why you didn't go after a high school recruit in the 2023 class. To now you have three guys, one guy you feel comfortable with, and hopefully nothing happens to him. So I mean, they've got some room to do with that quarterback room. I mean, they've got some work to do in that quarterback room. I'm interested to see if they go after a freshman for this class, or if they continue just like Nebraska has the last 2 years. This will be the second consecutive year they have a starter out of the portal. If they continue to use that, I think they can. But they would, guy in as well.
That's ideal, but at this point, it's slim pickings. I'm sure most of the quarterbacks are committed at this point. What are you really going to get? And if you don't get one, that to me makes it important that Jeff Sims is good this year, but not so good that he leaves. Because if he's gone and you don't have a quarterback that you fully trust for the 2024 season, that's a problem. To me, though, this puts a lot of pressure on the 25 and 26 classes where, you struck out in 2024 with both Dylan Raiola and Daniel Kalen, who ends up at Missouri. Again, understandably, you miss on Kalen that you were pursuing Raiola. Unfortunate that, you put all those eggs in that basket and you miss on him. But if you think you have the guy in Jeff Sims, if you think he's going to be here for 2 years, it gives you a year to target that guy for 25. Now, You might need a bridge starter that year while the guy sits. But to me, those guys are out there in the portal, yes, to get for a year, but also the quarterback position is so important. I get build in the trenches first. Offensive line, defensive line, absolutely do that. But to me, I would have a lot more confidence in this staff if they truly develop like a homegrown, such as it is Husker, not necessarily from in the state of Nebraska.
Yeah.
If it is, great, but if not, just have a guy that you bring in, redshirt him a year, then he plays 2 to 4 really solid years at Nebraska. To me, that's the most consistent way to do it, and we haven't seen that at Nebraska in so long.
Yeah, it's crazy too because back in the day, you kind of thought that maybe you had more time. You're thinking, all right, for this class and that class, you're so tied to your quarterback and your quarterback choices. Nowadays, it's crazy. I mean, when you think about Scott Frost, he had Adrian Martinez, and he rode with Adrian Martinez. And by the time that the Adrian Martinez experiment had failed, Scott Frost was, 3 games away with the new quarterback from being fired. So it's crazy how closely tied you can be with that. And, you think of that from the opposite of what if he just would have picked Joe Burrow. Not saying Joe, again, we have to go through this conversation every time. Not sure if Joe Burrow would have done what he did at LSU, but I think it's safe to assume Nebraska might have probably had something sort of something successful come out of that. And so these quarterback choices are big. The Sims one is interesting right away because you had a starter in Casey that I think now we can kind of say you kind of chased off campus a little bit by going out and getting Jeff Sims. And so he's kind of got the pressure to be better than Casey was last year, than Casey will be this year at his current spot. So it's all very intriguing, though. I'm glad that you said what you did say, though. I think at some point it would be nice if Nebraska's offense wasn't so quarterback reliant. I mean, when you think about the Tommy Armstrongs and the Taylor Martinez's and the Adrian Martinez, I mean, and then when Casey goes out, how the offense is just so reliant on that quarterback, and it's put so much on him. Whereas you think about, again, it depends on what type of football you like, but a Wisconsin offense where, I mean, how many people can even name the quarterback that was that was in the 70-point game where they lost in the championship game? Nebraska did. So it's interesting. And the Big Ten West, I mean, it has a lot of teams that are kind of in that category. We saw last year, I mean, Tanner Morgan struggling in the first half against Nebraska, and Cadillac Manis comes in and helps get the win for Minnesota. That doesn't mean Cadillac Manis is amazing. It means that Minnesota just has some of the pieces around it, and sometimes that you're off that day, sometimes you're going. We saw that with Casey even last year, but it's just it is we kind of, I think a lot of people expected this Dylan Raiola news, but I do think it makes you kind of look at that quarterback room and think there's 3 and there's not an obvious up and coming next guy. And I don't know how you feel. I mean, depending on how you feel as a fan, but Purdy and Harburg, from what we've seen of them, Purdy last year, Harburg in the spring game, I don't know if I'm ready to see those guys, in game time action.
Would have liked someone else. I mean, you have the 3 guys. You have Wosh, the walk-on who's there, and you have a quarterback room. I'm not going to say a great quarterback room. I'm not going to say a terrible quarterback room. You have a quarterback room. You do. Yeah. And that's more normal. But again, it comes back to, can you get the most out of Jeff Sims for 2 years? Because then if you can do that, and even if it's not, Jeff Sims being Superman, even if you have wide receivers step up, even if you get back to the running game, get over, 1,700 yards maybe for a target this year, that's a good step in the right direction. Because as much in the NFL as it's about who's the best quarterback on the field, the NFL and college are different. It would be fantastic to have the best quarterback in the division. You're not going to have the best quarterback in the conference. You're just not going to. Ohio State exists. Michigan exists. Yeah. Penn State exists. Right now, Iowa has the best quarterback in the Big Ten West, and you can't change my mind. That guy's Cade McNamara. Yeah. What's special about him?
Not great, but
no, he's good.
Probably the best amongst them.
He's just solid. He's just a really good, solid, doesn't make mistakes quarterback. If you can get that guy at Nebraska for 2 to 4 years, that goes a long way. I get it. The transfer portal exists. There are going to be guys out there. But to me, I would have a lot more confidence in this coaching staff if they prove to me they can pick a quarterback and develop him.
Yeah, I mean, in the transfer portal, I think that does calm your fears. I mean, this if the transfer portal wasn't here, then you would be pretty concerned about the depth and the guys that are developing behind Jeff Sims. But with the transfer portal there, I mean, it's a Band-Aid. If Jeff Sims leaves after next year and those next guys aren't ready, they can get a start out of the portal. They've shown that the last couple of years. It's not the most high-end guy for what it is, for what it's worth. Casey Thompson, Jeff Sims, not like top 10 transfer portal quarterbacks. But, you can get a guy that started and a guy that has some upside, which both of them do. So it's not an end of the world type of thing, but especially if you're a new coach, you'd like to get in there. Now, I'm interested in Kamari McClellan, the Alabama quarterback that is supposed to be visiting in early June is when it is, and he's not a top ranked quarterback. I mean, he's barely top 50 by a lot of publications as far as quarterbacks around the nation. Has some offers, Power 5 offers, Nebraska yet to offer, and I'm just interested in what they do there, because that's not one that I would think, okay, they're panicking and they're grabbing a quarterback. That's one where if he comes along, if they like the visit, I mean, maybe the offer goes out and he accepts it. But I do think if you're Nebraska, we talked about this scholarship crunch and where they're at. I mean, I don't think you just hand one out just to get a guy on campus to get him going. I don't think you necessarily need to do that because of the transfer portal. So if McClellan is that guy, if he is a guy that, whatever is left that they needed to be done before they send an offer, and maybe that was just getting final word from Dylan Raiola. But if I don't think they're in a position where they just have to get a guy. I mean, if they feel comfortable with him or whoever else may be, you talk about Daniel Kalen, you talk about guys that Satterfield was connected to at South Carolina. I just don't think they have to get one just to get one, though.
Right. Be selective enough.
Yeah.
You need a quarterback, but do you need a quarterback right now? Again, to me, it hinges on Jeff Sims. So the pressure is small picture, be good this year. Get the era, started off on the right foot, but also don't be too good. Come back for a couple of years and give this coaching staff time. That's just my couple cents. On the text line, Travis and Lincoln says Wisconsin, Purdue, and Illinois all have better quarterbacks than Iowa. They're not more proven, but they're better. I don't know about that. Tanner Mordecai played in a super pass first offense at SMU. Didn't have as much team success as they, might have. So more talented, sure. Better. I don't know. Hasn't done what Caden McNamara's done. Hudson Card wants to be Caden McNamara. He dresses up as Caden McNamara for Halloween. He does. Plain and simple. Yeah. Caden McNamara is a better Hudson Card. Illinois doesn't have Tommy DeVito anymore. Yeah. He gone. They're relying right now on Luke Altmaier, who's an Ole Miss transfer. Again, maybe more talented, but didn't do a whole lot at Ole Miss. So, no, sorry, Travis. I just disagree with you on that one.
Well, and I think there is time to play it out. I mean, this isn't one of those scenarios where kind of like going into last year, it's like, all right, well, CJ Stroud's the best quarterback in the Big Ten, and to supplant him, you're going to have to be a top pick in the draft. Cade McNamara is not that guy, but I mean, you have to give him respect that he took Michigan. They beat Ohio State. They went to the Big Ten championship game and won, and they went to the playoffs. And that was all under his leadership 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. This last year, I still can't believe, and the amount of disrespect that the Michigan staff had toward Colorado State, and I think it was Hawaii, where they just said, it doesn't really matter. We'll beat these teams.
And UConn was in there.
UConn was in it, and it's just like, and amongst that, we'll just find out who our quarterback is. And I was amazed that they did that. But in any case, I think Caden McNamara gets the edge, especially based on that he's been in the Big Ten. It is interesting though. Iowa is getting a little bit of pub today. I can't remember who it was, but somebody saying that they're a little bit underrated coming into the year. I don't know if he elevates them to a spot where I could quite say that. I mean, you feel better than the Spencer Petras years, but I don't know if you're all of a sudden buying in on Iowa, but somehow they win, 8 games without a quarterback. So I get the intrigue there, but there is still a Ferentz calling the plays, so I'll have to wait and see. I'll have to be proven wrong on that one, I guess.
And all they have to do is get to 25 points to keep him around. So come on, Cade, you can do it. I believe in you, buddy. Brad on the text line says everyone is better than Nebraska. Brad, are you talking about at quarterback or in the division? Because right now it's hard to say otherwise in the division, but I think Jeff Sims is a thoroughly middle of the road Big Ten West quarterback right now. I mean, he's going to be better Northwestern's guy. Minnesota not fully sold on Kaliakmanis yet, even though he did tear Nebraska up last year. We'll have to wait and see on him. We mentioned the transfers at those other places. Don't know about them. Again, to me, it's no doubt that McNamara is the top. Everyone other than that, you can tell me they're 2 through 7, and I wouldn't have too much of a bone to pick with you. Eric, though, hits on a good point, Bach. Again, develop an offensive line first. It's hard to develop a quarterback when he has to run for his life every time he drops back. Since Nebraska, in his opinion, doesn't have even an average quarterback on the roster, they should spend the next couple of years developing an O-line. So when they do get a quality quarterback, they can develop him. Yes, football 101.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard. I mean, with both those things, I mean, you talk about development along all fronts with the new coaching staff. A lot of new coaching assistant coaches in these position groups. It's going to be key for all of them. You're rarely going to see a good quarterback with a bad offensive line, or kind of the reverse. I mean, a good offensive line can really make a quarterback look pretty darn good. So, I mean, both these things are key, and I think that at least, I don't know. I mean, Matt Rule's had some offensive line experience. And I mean, I wouldn't say that this is necessarily like you went out and just got an offensive line coach to be your coach or anything like that. But I think that this coaching staff, at least what they're preaching, is that they understand the importance of line play. And in Nebraska fans, if you weren't convinced by now, you probably are, that this is a league that's won on the front lines. And I think that the commitment should be there, but it's harder than just saying, okay, even hire this guy. Like we always give credit to like Iowa and Wisconsin, like they could just roll over any offensive line coach and get the same results because they're Iowa and Wisconsin.
Iowa's offensive line was
not that simple.
Year.
Now Iowa's had struggles in recent years, but Tristan Wirfs and all the guys that they've gone on to the NFL. I'm just saying I like the fact that the emphasis is back on the offensive line. I'm just saying it takes a little bit more than that to get it back to what you need it to be in the Big Ten West. But I mean, that's the start, and that's where we'll see if these guys can come through with it. Which again, I think is a fascinating side note to the whole Dylan Raiola thing. Is his uncle and having two staffs now. I'll say the first one kind of take a chance on him because his resume wasn't where you necessarily would typically take an offensive line coach. And now the second staff coming and say, we're going to retain this guy. How much of that had to do with any chance at Dylan is kind of interesting, intriguing. Years down the line, we might look at it, but I'll say this too. I mean, I think Donovan's doing a good job. I think that offensive line improved in pass protection, I suppose, as the year went along. On the ground, Anthony Grant really struggled toward the end of the year, but at the same time, you didn't have much of a passing threat, so it's kind of hard to say. But I've always kind of thought if I'm a Nebraska fan, give me like if you need some nasty in your front line, go get a Raiola, to help coach it. I've even gone as far as to say is incognito, but I'm not sure. I don't know if you go that far.
Yeah, I'm going to back off that one. I'm going to demur, no comment.
That's a little too much nastiness, maybe.
Potentially. So there's your dose of reality. No Dylan Raiola for Nebraska quarterback position, still unsettled for the next couple of years. Here's the optimism. Nebraska's going bowling.
Are they?
Heard it here first.
Oh, sweet.
Well, not from me, from Brett McMurphy.
Oh, okay.
He's writing for Action Network. Projections are out. Brett McMurphy has Nebraska, like I just said, going to a bowl game. Which bowl game, you might ask? The Las Vegas Bowl.
Hey, there you go.
That's right. Being played in Las Vegas, Nebraska. Care to guess who their opponent is?
I don't even know who the crossover there is.
It's a Pac-12 team. I will grant you that.
Okay, Pac-12 team. I'm gonna go with. My goodness, it's probably toward the end of the Pac-12 making the bowl games there. There's some good Pac-12 teams. I'm trying to think of a not so good Pac-12 team. You know what? It's taking me too long. It's not Arizona State. Utah. That'd be a good one. Yeah, I'll take that one.
Brett McMurphy has Utah favored by 11 points. In the Las
He's
Vegas
already got
Bowl
it
right
okay.
now. So there's that. Nebraska, again, from Brett McMurphy going to the Las Vegas Bowl.
Does that do anything for you? I mean, there's so many years. Nebraska always predicted to go to a bowl game. And in fairness, not bad predictions. They've had the roster talent to do it. They just haven't had, seemingly have had a coach in the way for a while. But, to me, I see these things and I just kind of go, well, okay, at least it lets me know the national expectation is still for Nebraska to be at least that good. Mm-hmm. And that makes me think, okay, well, I'm not going crazy then.
Yeah. To me, it's less about the Las Vegas Bowl specifically, because that you're 6-6, most likely, maybe 7-5. To me, it's more, hey, they got back to the postseason. This is a good year one. They accomplished what they needed to. So for me, it's more big picture than it is, oh my gosh, they'll be playing in late December, mid-late December
Yeah.
in Las Vegas.
Las Vegas would be nice. They got the new stadium there, though.
That's true.
Yeah.
Playing the Death Star.
Yeah.
Other Big Ten bowl projections that stood out to me: Minnesota to the Quick Lane Bowl. Again, probably 6-6, 7-5. 17-point favorites over Central Michigan.
Take that, Chippewas.
Okay, we'll see that. First Responder Bowl has Michigan State as a field goal favorite over Oklahoma State.
I do not feel good about Michigan State losing.
I don't feel
Peyton
good about
Thorne.
Oklahoma State.
Yeah, that too. They didn't look good toward the end. With the Peyton Thorne thing, and I know he didn't play, great last year, but he also lost Coleman, the receiver, their leading receiver. Their secondary has been awful for a couple years. I don't know. I don't know if Michigan State's going bowling.
Do you think Maryland's going bowling?
Absolutely. I'm high on Maryland.
They're going to Phoenix, according to Brett McMurphy, to play Baylor in the Guaranteed Rate Bowl.
Yeah, I'd watch that.
Here's a game I would not watch for multiple reasons. Number one, it features Iowa. And number two, it's being played at Yankee Stadium, and I don't like the Yankees.
Yikes.
Yes, the Pinstripe Bowl, Iowa and North Carolina State.
No more Tim Beck at North Carolina State, so that's obviously going to hurt him. I don't know if you know this about me. I like watching Iowa football, not because I like Iowa University, because I like defense and special teams, and just like how much they need them to make a big play, and it happens, routinely. It's entertaining to me to just like, when's the safety? When's the pick six that's going to bail Iowa out of this jam?
That's fair. It's unfortunate, but it's fair.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Here's a matchup that might surprise you: Texas and USC
in
the Alamo Bowl.
That does surprise me. I guess I was thinking, wait, Big Ten implications. There's not a Big Ten team in there, but USC is kind of Big Ten. I think a lot of people expect a lot more out of USC, and some people expect more out of Texas. I mean, I think that's probably in line with what about I expect from Texas, but the Pac-12 is going to be competitive. So if USC doesn't quite make it out to the Rose Bowl, I mean, I that would shock me, I suppose.
We're getting to that in just a second. The last two actual Big Ten teams in non-New Year's Six bowls, Illinois and Arkansas in Nashville for the Music City Bowl, and then Wisconsin and Tennessee in the Citrus Bowl. Now to the New Year's Sixes. You're down to three Big Ten teams, the Big Three in the Big Ten right now, left for New Year's Sixes. Who do you think Brett McMurphy has going to the playoff right now?
I'd say he's probably got an edge to Michigan.
It is Michigan. Yeah. He has them playing Florida State in the Rose Bowl.
A lot of interest in Florida State.
There's that. Okay, then that leaves Ohio State and Penn State on the outside looking in, according to Brett McMurphy. He has LSU, Penn State in the Peach Bowl.
That'd be a good one.
And Clemson, Ohio State in the Orange Bowl.
Yeah, I can't argue against those.
The other CFP semifinal then would be Georgia and Washington.
There's your Pac-12
Washington, Bach. Washington.
If Michael Penix Jr. said that they can win the national championship, apparently Brett McMurphy was listening.
Listening a little bit, but not fully. He has Georgia beating them.
Oh, okay.
He does have Michigan, though, taking down Florida State. He has them as 6-point favorites. He only has Georgia as a 2-point favorite over Michigan in the national championship right now.
That's fascinating because, Michigan's right there, but they feel like they're a little far away. The loss to TCU, the blowout against Georgia the last 2 years, and then people pile on and say, Harbaugh never wins bowl games or whatever. I could care less about that. He's getting them to the playoffs. But I don't know. I mean, maybe a healthy Blake Corum makes quite a big of a difference. I'm not sure. I will say this: I don't quite trust Michigan in the playoffs. I trust them to maybe get there, but. Yeah.
Georgia with quarterback questions. Again, still the SEC favorite. That's going to be an interesting storyline to watch. The other New Year's Six bowls include Oregon and Tulane in the Fiesta Bowl, and Texas Tech and Alabama in the Cotton Bowl. Texas Tech.
That's a surprise.
Brett McMurphy, I think, just kind of threw darts to the board for some of these.
sounds like a little bit.
Let's reach my hand into the Big 12 here, rummage around a little bit. Texas Tech. Okay, I'm going with the Red Raiders.
That is the Big 12 this year, though. Who would be your pick?
I don't even know. I don't know if Texas? I trust Oklahoma to take that biggest step forward. Texas has got to do it.
Yeah.
K-State, I think, has a lot of pieces.
Yeah, could be.
I probably lean them,
Lose Deuce
but
Vaughn,
not confident.
Yeah, so it's pretty open, Big 12. I don't know if I don't think I'd land on Texas Tech, but that's fine.
Good for you, Brett McMurphy. Again, that's Brett McMurphy of Action Network talking about the bowl projections. I'll put Bo here on our first segment. We'll talk some NBA when we get back. Jason Tatum is that dude. Goes off for 50 points. What comes next for Philly? And some other coaching openings. We'll get into all that and more as we continue here on The Block.
This is Jay Foreman. I wore gear to protect my health on the football field, and I'm protecting it now by staying up to date with the bivalent COVID vaccine. Get up to date, still free, and stay protected. Learn more at healthylincoln.org.
America's been around since 1776. That's nothing. America's still just learning how to party. The Irish? The Irish have been doing it for thousands of years. Party the Irish way at McKinney's Irish Pub in the Haymarket. They've got your favorite Irish beers on tap, along with all the locals and domestics. Plus great house cocktails, a huge selection of Irish whiskey, and the best Irish pub food in town. See the full menu and list of specials online at mckinneyspub.com, or just head down there. McKinney's Irish Pub at 7th and P in the Haymarket.
Vershawn Jackson for Brandt Excavating. Brandt's been in business for 29 years, and they specialize in a variety of things. If you're looking for someone to get the job done in precision demolition, excavating, trucking, mass grading, and site prep, Brandt is the place to call. To set up a quote or learn more, call Brandt Excavating at 402-474-4113 or go to BrandtExcavating.com. They're also hiring, so join the team today. Brandt Excavating, a part of the Bauer brand, who reminds you, go Big Brand!
If you're interested in installing solar panels in Nebraska, there's a name you need to know. Solar by Alpine Electric is based out of Lincoln, and you can be sure your project will be handled with care and detail because Rick, the owner of Solar by Alpine Electric, will be involved in the entire process from start to finish. We're an REC Solar Certified Pro installer and handle jobs in Lincoln and the surrounding area. Let us show you real-time results in your area. Call Rick today at 402-440-4371. Solar by Alpine Electric.
Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket.
Okay, playing 93.7 The Ticket.
Alexa, turn down the lights.
Dimming the lights.
Alexa, order a pizza. The big one. All the toppings.
Are you sure that's a good idea?
Alexa.
That's a lot of pizza for just one man.
Alexa, just do it. Stop judging me, just do it.
As you wish.
Thanks, Alexa. You're my best friend.
Some kids worry about making the sports team. Others worry about where they'll sleep tonight. In Lincoln, 300 kids are in need of a safe and loving home. Cedars is here for them, but we do need your help. A gift to Cedars makes an immediate impact on Lincoln's kids. And on Give to Lincoln Day, your gift goes even further. I'm Jim Blue, president of the Cedars organization, and I'm asking you to go to givetolincoln.com to make your gift to Cedars and support Lincoln's kids today.
It's May, and that means the school year's almost over and summer road trips are on the horizon. Stop telling yourself you'll upgrade your car someday and do it now. Mullen Motors lot is full of great vehicles to take home so you don't have to worry about your current car barely surviving another road trip. Come check out their lot just north of 48th and Layton and find your next ride. Summer road trips are just around the corner. Mullen Motors.
No taglines, just quality vehicles. Mullen Motors.
Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits is now open in Lincoln. Shop our expansive collection of wine, beer, spirits, and cigars at 5040 North 27th Street. From top shelf liquor to crowd favorite beer, Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits has a beverage for every taste and every budget. Plus, join our loyalty program to earn rewards and save on future purchases. Shop Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits at 5040 North 27th Street in Lincoln. That's 5040 North 27th Street.
Brown Shoe Fit has all types of shoes for you to excel this summer. Check out their new Keen and Tiva brand sandals for hiking and Olukai sandals for sitting by the pool. Plus, they're stocked up on Hey Dupes to catch you up on the latest shoe fashion. They also have shoes in brands like Brooks, Hoka, Merrell, On, and many more. Browns has the local professionals to get the proper fit, aided by their high-tech foot scanner by Atrex. Stop by Brown Shoe Fit today, just south of 66th and Q in Lincoln.
Now back to On the Block with Strick and Austin on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
That's right. We're back here on the block for another half an hour or so. We'll send you back to state baseball after that. But it's Austin and Bach sitting in with you here again for the next 30 minutes or so here on 93.7 The Ticket. Talking NBA, and Bach, let's hop right into your beloved Celtics and my
Yes.
beloved Jason Tatum.
Yes.
Doing his thing. That is his ish. That is his city. Says, humbly, I'm one of the best players on earth after game 6, after his takeover. Backed that all the way up in game 7.
Yeah, I don't know. Whatever he did, he flipped the switch for the fourth quarter of game 6 and never turned it off. I mean, if that was a competitive game, he might have had 65, 70 points of the way he was going. And they were throwing double teams at him. And he was just unstoppable. I mean, he got in a flow. Now, he is a guy, too, that, it's like game 6, unfortunately, wasn't all that shocking that he ran into. Now, he did have his worst game, which was a little surprising, but he sometimes has disappeared a little bit. Jaylen Brown has led that team. If Jason Tatum obviously can be that guy, but anything close to that guy and Jaylen Brown gets going, I mean, I feel a lot better because that's kind of been a storyline for the Celtics is that he's kind of the regular season star. And, I don't want to take away, it's not like he's much worse than Jaylen Brown, but Jaylen Brown kind of just has that it factor, or what is that ridiculous trait that Coward put out there? He said, that Tatum, you had more alpha than Tatum. Well, Tatum sure looked like he had some alpha in game 7.
It's funny that he has that narrative around him because Boston's made the conference finals, 4 of the last 6 years that he's been there.
Yeah.
I remember his dunk over LeBron against the Cavs, stared him down, led them to the finals last year. Jason Tatum has that dog in him. It's weird that he has that narrative for, being, regular season guy. Everyone's going to be better in the regular season.
Yeah.
Every single player. Now, yes, you need him to rise.
Except for Jimmy Butler.
Well, correct. Yes, you found the exception that proves the rule.
That's right.
And he's your problem now.
Yeah, he is.
Who defends him? Is that an Al Horford thing? Is that a Jason Tatum thing?
Yeah, or Brown. I mean, I think they've got a lot of different ways that a lot of different guys that they can throw at him. And that's what I'm happy about the Celtics team. And not that it's they've reached their goal or anything, but this is I will feel it's even with this Final Four. As a Celtics fan, I feel like they've got the best roster put together. Now, you want to say the best player out there, maybe Jokic, you got some different LeBron, you could throw some different guys out there. But if I'm thinking of a team that's well put together, it's the Celtics. And they don't even have Danilo Gallinari, who was supposed to be part of this unit, but got hurt. So, I mean, they're just so deep. Grant Williams didn't even play in game 7. That's a guy that would be playing for most teams in the playoffs. Even Peyton Pritchard's pretty good. So, I mean, they're so deep that they don't even play some of the guys sometimes. So I feel pretty good against the Heat. They beat them in 7 games last year with pretty much the same roster. But it's kind of funny how the narrative can change on the Heat, because like I said, they had the same roster basically last year, were the number 1 seed. Now had a bad regular season, some injuries, and they finished in the 8th seed. Now all of a sudden, it's unbelievable that they are where they are. And I saw ESPN give him a 3% chance to beat the Celtics, and I just don't know where they come up with those numbers. It's like it's got to be higher than that. I don't know I don't know where I'd put it, but it's got to be higher than 3.
70-30?
Yeah, something like that.
65-35?
At least give him that.
Right, because Jimmy Butler has done this before.
Yeah,
he has, and that's got to be scary.
Yeah, and they do have injuries, to a few guys, and that's going to hurt them. Tyler Hero probably not going to be back for this series. Oladipo isn't who he used to be to begin with, but he's hurt. And so, I mean, I feel pretty good about this series. But I felt pretty good in the bubble. so I'm a little bit cautious, a little bit more cautious of that. But it's intriguing, and that's part of the story too, is that both these semifinals, the Western Conference, Eastern Conference finals, are the same as the bubble, which got an asterisk, and it's called the Mickey Mouse Championship and all that. And now I think 3 years later, this proves that, because the rosters have been tinkered with a little bit, but the stars are the same players on the same teams.
But you can still call it a Mickey Mouse Championship because the Lakers won it.
Yeah.
And you have to discredit everything the Lakers do.
Well, I don't mind that, yeah. But if I don't know how to feel, because I kind of, in one way, I don't want the Lakers, I just don't want the Lakers to win. And I don't want them to get an 18th championship. But in another way, if it's Lakers Celtics for the 18th championship, which for people who aren't NBA historians, that they're tied currently right now with the most championships in NBA history with 17. To put that online in the finals, along with the Bird Magic, all the Lakers Celtics stuff that you already have, the beat LA chance, the parquet floors, it's just it would be incredible, and I kind of hope that happens. Though I know a lot of, we're in the Midwest, and the Denver Nuggets have pretty much taken almost anybody who doesn't have a hardcore commitment to a team or is a player's guy has gravitated. Now the Midwest is filled with Nuggets fans.
All of a sudden,
yes.
Which is fine. I mean, like you said, there's not a lot going on in Midwest basketball. It's hard to root for draft picks, aka the Thunder.
Yeah, that's
the
right.
Wolves have been just sad for so long.
Yes.
So I can't blame people for, grasping onto the Nuggets. Will the league, though? That's the question. Is Denver, is Nikola Jokic good enough to overcome the league's, I am sure, internal desire to get Lakers Celtics for number 18? Because we've seen shenanigans as it comes to the Lakers before.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, I'm not a big conspiracy theorist for the NBA. But like you said, the Kings from, like, what was that, 2002 definitely deserved to be in the finals. So I mean, we have seen it before. I think that you're in for a good series. And I know a lot of people too are, maybe it's just the Lakers logo or the LeBron James factor, are very bought in and think the Lakers are just going to, definitely going to be a lock there. I think Denver's got to be the favorites going into that series. Now, I like the Lakers, the groove they've been on. They've put on a good team, but there's only so many times that I want, the Lonnie Walker story is great. But you don't want to be relying on Lonnie Walker, for these big series. So we'll see. I mean, Austin Reeves, I mean, they've got a good supporting cast around him, a better supporting cast probably than Jokic does. But that guy is should be 3-time MVP for a reason. And Jamal Murray hasn't been quite to what you would expect him to be, or back to where you'd want him to be. But if he can turn it on, I mean, that guy, I mean, I've said this before about him, is I don't know if he's probably not like a top 20 player in the league, but he might be a top 20 if I have one shot left with the game on the line.
Right.
I want him to take the shot.
Absolutely. Speaking of Nikola Jokic and his third MVP that he didn't win, the guy that got it, Joel Embiid, 5 of 18 from the floor, 0-4 from 3, 5 of 6 from the free throw line, 15 points, 8 boards in Game 7 against the Celtics. Not a good stat line for the MVP. Doubled down on his bad stat line by saying basketball's a 5-on-5 game. Me and James can't do it ourselves. Oh, by the way, James Harden, 3 of 11 from the floor, 1 of 5 from 3 for 9 points. He had 6 rebounds and 7 assists. Yeah, basketball isn't 2-on-5. It was 3-on-5 because Embiid and Harden sucked in Game 7. What is Joel Embiid talking about?
Not a good look. And again, I feel particularly bad for Tyrese Maxey because I think that guy's a stud coming up and going to be, has a better chance to be on that roster probably next year than Harden does. So it's kind of strange way to go about it if you're Embiid. Sometimes, and I say this too with Scott Frost, that at a certain point, there's just not really anything to say, after losses, and you kind of feel bad for him because there's nothing to say. If you're Joel Embiid and you got blitzed like that, again, there's this reactionary culture, and certainly Game 7, you want to see more out of him, the MVP, and he didn't have the numbers and all that, but it's the 3 seed losing to the 2 seed in Game 7. That's kind of about what's supposed to happen, So it's not like I know we have to do this. We have to paint, 76ers failed year. What are they going to do? Change all this, change all that. And there are some things that I would tinker with. I don't think they have a roster necessarily, and he's right. I mean, I don't think they're deep enough to have a roster that's going to be there. And I still kind of go back to Jimmy Butler laughing at them choosing to keep Tobias Harris over him. But it's not what he should have said, clearly. But I'm not sure if you freak out and change the whole roster. That being said, you kind of have to start to think about Doc Rivers and his Game 7 lulls.
Well, it's not just Game 7. Doc Rivers has now lost 7 series. He's led 3-2 or better. 2023, this last series was up 3-2. The Clippers had the 3-1 lead over the Nuggets in the bubble.
Yeah.
Blew that one, up 3-1 over the Rockets in 2015. Blew it. He messed, well, not him. It wasn't a solo act. It wasn't all Doc Rivers. But the Celtics, 2009, 10, and 12 had 3-2 leads.
Yeah.
And then in the Magic, even in 2003, had a 3-1 lead over the Pistons. Ended up letting that go. The coaching carousel, the way it's spun already, to add Doc Rivers to the pile of even Nick Nurse, Mike Budenholzer, and Monty Williams, that would be a seismic shakeup. Those are all really good coaches.
And it's very strange. I don't know what to make of it. Like, especially with the Bucks maybe going after Monty Williams, who Budenholzer kind of got the better over. I get it. It's not, again, it's not college football. It's not like your program is based around your coach. It's a players' league. And more than anything, you just need maybe a new voice in there, some sort of different type of motivation. Maybe it's getting kind of old or whatever. The message is not being felt there anymore. So I get all that. But I mean, these are a lot of just proven guys in the league that I always kind of think if you release your coach and he's the hot name on the market, maybe you should think twice about releasing your coach or at least have, I mean, this is one of those situations where like, you better have a plan. You better not just kind of go out there and wing it. We'll find somebody and then end up with, giving somebody a shot that, I don't know, go find Steve Nash or something.
Phoenix, of course, with that opening, Steve Nash would be absolutely hilarious to reunite him and Kevin Durant. Heck, if Philly lets James Harden go and they sign him in Phoenix, sign me up for that. That'd be hilarious. But he's not the target for the Suns right now. That's Tyronn Lue. Is that a step up for Tyronn Lue to go from the Clippers to Phoenix? Would he ever consider it? Should he do it?
If I'm him, I might, just because the Clippers thing has not worked out. They've never have the health. And, getting the chance to have KD, that would be something that would be kind of hard to pass over. So I would consider it. But Phoenix was kind of banged up in their final game too. So I don't know that they've got a roster and many people have said this, but they maybe have given up too much of their roster for Kevin Durant. Sure, they got the star, but then they didn't have the supporting pieces. So, I think I think my eyes are maybe more on the GM of the Suns to try to put that thing together. And if I'm Tyronn Lue, if I can work with the GM, kind of get the guys that you want in there, then maybe, but the Clippers have had such a good rosters. They just aren't ever healthy.
That's the thing. That's the issue, because you go from a team with a lot of depth. The Clippers had a solid 7, 8, 9, 10 man rotation this year to the Suns, who had essentially their starting 5, maybe even just a starting 4, depending on how you count DeAndre Ayton, right. From game to game. So it's not like the star power is going to be better in Phoenix than it is in LA, because you have Kawhi and Paul George. I think Steve Ballmer is a good owner. We don't know what Matt Ishbia is. He's the one that pushed for that Durant trade. He's the one that pushed Monty Williams out. So if he's going to do that stuff and you don't give your GM the opportunity to make those decisions, that would worry me making that leap if I'm Tyronn Lue.
Yeah. I don't know if I would do it. But at the same time, frustration's got to be mounting. If you didn't kind of pay attention to, he lost a lot of family members this last. It was just kind of a tough year for Tyronn Lue. Maybe he feels like a new place, kind of just a new look for him might be there. But at the same time too, I mean, if you're Tyronn Lue, if you're competitive, you also might be thinking like, I want to see this thing. And year after year it can be disappointing to not be able to get those two guys, Paul George and Kawhi, on the court at the same time for the playoffs. But like, it's not like it's just a 1 year. I hope this kind of works out. Now you've had like 3 years of, and it'll be what, their 4th year maybe of build up to finally see it happen. And I don't know if I certainly have doubts that it would happen, but like at some point, if I'm Tyronn Lue, if I put all that work in, I want to see what the payoff would be if he got there.
Absolutely. I'm with you on that. We'll step aside one more time here. Wrap up on the block before we send you out to state baseball next.
Nebraska's favorite vape shop,
Generation V.
providing friendly, personalized service and the largest selection of vaporizers and e-liquid flavors in the state.
Generation V.
Generation V will beat or match any local competitor's price. With a huge selection, great service, and the lowest prices, Generation V is your one-stop shop for all your vaping needs.
Generation V.
With 4 Lincoln locations, visit us on the web at generationv.com. E-cigs contain nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
Hi everyone, Kendall Warnock, A1 Automotive in downtown Lincoln. Spring is here. Summer is fast approaching. With weddings, vacations, and weekend getaways on your mind, do not let car issues prevent you from getting where you need to be. Car problems shouldn't be something that you put up with. Let us get you back on the road in comfort and safety. We diagnose all makes and models from Porsches to Hondas, Toyotas, and Chevrolets. We fix a variety of issues with all of them with our talented techs and our experienced staff. A1 Automotive at 11th and L, downtown Lincoln, always honest answers.
You don't think about your roof very often, but you should never take it for granted. Roofing Service Company takes every measure to provide you with the highest quality roofing solution. Whether it's a new roof installation, roof repair, or a re-roofing project, their overall goal is to provide you with a pleasant experience and a long-lasting roof. If you have a need for siding or gutters, they're your place too. Visit roofingservicecompany.com for more info today.
You've driven by GE Landscape Supply countless times, likely without even knowing, at 6701 Cornhusker Highway. Now it's time to stop in. GE Landscape Supply sells to homeowners and contractors with a vast selection of landscaping and construction materials. They sell in bulk to save you money, and you can buy anything from a 5-gallon bucket to a semi-load. And don't forget, they deliver anywhere. Stop by 6701 Cornhusker Highway from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday to Friday, and 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Saturdays. Go to GELandscapeSupply.com for more info or call 402-467-1627.
Dive into good times and great savings when you take advantage of the above-ground swimming pool sale happening now at Bonzall Pool and Spa. All in-stock swimming pools are 50% off through the end of May while supplies last. You don't want to miss out on this hot deal. Visit our showroom at 33rd and Pioneers today. Learn more about the promotion at bonzallpool.com. Bonzall Pool and Spa, every day made better.
Springtime is here, and it's time to get to work on outdoor projects. Deck City is a great place to start as Lincoln's local source for everything decks. Deck City has everything you need to build the deck of your dreams. From treated lumber to Westbury aluminum railings and TimberTech composite decking. Call them today to schedule an appointment at 402-480-6671. Go online at deckcityne.com or visit their new location just north of 33rd and Cornhusker Highway.
Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits is now open in Lincoln. Shop our expansive collection of wine, beer, spirits, and cigars at 5040 North 27th Street. From top shelf liquor to crowd favorite beer, Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits has a beverage for every taste and every budget. Plus, join our loyalty program to earn rewards and save on future purchases. Shop Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits at 5040 North 27th Street in Lincoln. That's 5040 North 27th Street.
May 1st through 31st, enroll your eligible smart thermostat in the LES Peak Rewards program. You'll earn participation incentives while helping to reduce electric usage. Learn more and sign up at les.com/peak rewards.
The Butchery by Venue is Lincoln's premier specialty grocers. Take the quality of Venue home with you with our hand-cut steaks, handcrafted burgers, and locally sourced offerings. Browse our wide selection of specialty products designed to enhance your dining experiences with cheeses, spices, sauces, and more. We also have an exclusive collection of liquors, whiskeys, and bourbons at prices you're sure to love. Stop in to the Butchery by Venue today, located in our Venue at Home storefront at 70th and Pioneers, just 2 doors down from Venue Restaurant and Lounge.
Now back to On the Block with Strick and Austin on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
One final time here